One championship, guys. I'm getting into this. One thing that I need more sports. I was in college, and my roommate every night would watch something called Sports Center. And I realize that that's a common theme now, but this was back in the 90s. It was kind of new, and it was 15 minutes. And if he could have that TV on for 15 minutes every single night, he would know everything going on in sports. He would know who played who. He would know what the odds were, know what the score was, and he would know who was coming up. Now, I had such a tremendous jealousy. I would go out of my way to make sure I was in the living room holding the remote at the time that he wanted to watch. And I want to say it was 11 p.m. because I didn't want him to have that enjoyment. I didn't understand it. I did not understand being a fan and watching somebody else who you don't know. You know, if it's your buddy, if it's your classmates, if you're family, I just didn't understand it. But I did understand that I wish I had what he had. Because I was a fan of something called the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Now, they were having one event every 8 months for a period of time. And then to get that event, it wasn't on pay-per-view. You had to wait until that came out and got put on the shelf at Blockbuster. Now, the internet wasn't around. This is 1993. The internet wasn't around. You could keep a secret. You'd have no idea who won. No matter how many months it took to get that to the shelf, that was your first time seeing it. It was your first time hearing about it. That worked back then. Well, you fast forward, we're around 98. They're doing 5 and 6 events a year. Sometimes as few as 4. But this is all that I'm a fan of. My buddy, meanwhile, gets 15 minutes every single night. And then when the weekend rolls around, he gets hours to watch these games. I was not happy for him. I was disappointed for myself. I didn't get to be a fan. So, I am much more entertainment now. The world of digital, and I get to read about it. I get to talk to you guys every day. I get to have some fun, but I'm getting into one championship. I want more. I want to spread this around a little bit. And one championship was very difficult for me to get. I used to get a feed from Front Row Brian, who doesn't go by that name anymore. He goes by Nebraska Boxer, something like this. He would send me a feed to watch Ben Askren, and sometimes Brian would even be in the locker room with Ben Askren. This is 3:30 in the morning. Now, I tell the story that way because in all fairness, I might have been stealing it. I'm not a thief. I want to go steal stuff, not even content. I was just clicking the button. But as I look back, maybe there was like a pay-per-view or some kind of an arm. I didn't know about it. I was getting this feed. Boom, that's how I'm watching Ben Askren. But one championship is now on Amazon Prime. Now, what do I know about Amazon? What do I know about Amazon is that if I need something, they'll bring it to me within 24 hours. So when they say they're getting in a fight, and I think I push a button, they bring a drone, drops 2 guys in my backyard. Well, not so fast. But it's not too far off. Now, they got a Lee family over there. And I'm trying to get friends. I'm trying to get one championship friends. And what I'm going to do for the next one event is I'm going to hold a viewing party. Now, if I can get this organized, I'm going to invite all of you. And we're going to have a viewing party. Many people are now calling that a companion within their sport. Over the Joe Rogan program, they have started something called Fight Companion, where Joe and his buddies watch the fights, but the camera's on you. You don't see it. They don't steal the content, and they talk about it. So now anybody that takes Joe's idea, and believe me, everybody that's ever wanted to have a podcast or a YouTube page steals Joe's idea. But now they do something, they call it a companion. I'm going to call it a viewing party, but it's what you might know as a companion. And I want to get us up to speed on one. So one of the smartest guys I know is my buddy Ryan. He follows one very closely. He's the one that's bringing me. I said, Ryan, give me a story. I need to bring it to the audience. We're going to do a viewing party. I've got to have a story in an audience. He goes, oh my God, Chael, you know about the Lees? I said, no. He goes, you don't know about this Lee that always is making desserts? What? Is this a joke? He goes, you don't know about the Lee girl that's always making desserts? He says, you got to hear about this. They're mom and dad. And it's Ken and Jules Lee. And it's in that order, but are looked at as royalty. They've sent their kids over. You got Angela Lee's the champion. You got Christian Lee, who's a champion. You got Angela, you got Christian. Rumor is that there is a younger brother named Adrian, who I don't want to put pressure on, but signed at 16 years old, is Victoria Lee. Now, this is all the same family. I don't know why Ryan's telling me about the desserts. I don't understand that part of it. Somewhere he thought that was interesting. I said, who are these people? I said, they must be from that part of the world because I know everything about everything. He said, well, no. Matter of fact, they train here in America. They're from Hawaii. These two girls, as a matter of fact, are both state wrestling champions. But if you go look into Kinley, you're going to find out that he's a masterful striker. And most of the stuff that you're going to find online has to do with his striking. Well, that's a red herring. That's what all the great magicians do. You look at this hand so you don't see this hand. You look a little further into Kinley, you find out not only a black belt in jiu-jitsu, he was the head of the Canadian Jiu-Jitsu Federation for years. And I'm not looking to out the family. I'm just looking to share you with this. And if you think you're going into a fisticuffs with one of the Lee kids, you're going to find yourself taken down and put in a guillotine. I'm giving you a heads up. But they're not the first to pull that. Matter of fact, Nate Diaz has done that in reverse. Nate Diaz's proudest achievement in sport is his black belt under Cesar Gracie. But Nate got so good with the hands that he continued to tell people about the black belt. He would only talk about Cesar Gracie. He would only thank Cesar Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. He would only go in and teach Jiu-Jitsu. This is what Nate was using in fights right here. Right here. Nate just won his last fight. He went to the ground one time and he was there for 6 seconds. Right here is what Nate Diaz has been using to win fights for a meaningful period of time. But he had everybody else looking in this direction. And no matter how many times he was touching somebody up, you were getting fooled by it. Now you look at these families. This has been largely male dominated. And you guys have heard of many second generation guys, right? Floyd Mayweather gets born into this world. He has a coach across the hall. It's called his dad. Floyd would have a day off to go to holidays. He's got a coach at the holidays. It's his Uncle Roger. Khabib Nurmagomedov, who's a far above everybody else, and people love to tell the story because he was out in Russia and he was wrestling bears at 5 years old. Well, no, it was his dad. He was born, his dad was across the hall. The coach was across the hall. So if you look at what Ken and Jules Lee did, and it truly is a male dominated, but I want to bring that for attention because the few times where they break away from that, you end up having champions. I would love for you to tell me a second generation story that involves a female where she didn't go on to have a great career. I would truly love to hear that because I'll see you, Ronda Rousey, whose mother was a black belt in judo, taught it to that gender instead of the boys, didn't have one. Daughter goes on, makes 2 Olympic teams, brings home a medal, goes into MMA, becomes world champion, sets a record for armbarring people, just by example. But I could do that same game with the Shevchenko girls. Both of them. Well, all of a sudden the Lees are doing that. They got 2 boys, they got 2 girls. When they went and got in the car to go to practice each day, when they moved the coffee table out of the way, sister was called too. And the Lees are out there, they're striking, they're touching people up. Now, they got a different style, guys. They're doing taekwondo, they're going to kick you with stuff, they're going to spin, they're going to get real dynamic in their strikes. 2 girls are world champions. I apologize, the 2 girls are state champions in Hawaii. That's the same achievement, put in perspective for you, that Alima Leigh McFarland had. So just to share with you, winning the state championship of the girls division in Hawaii is a very competitive field. These are both champions. You then have Christian, who's the world champion. They're all training together. You got mom and dad are both coaches. 2 boys, 2 girls. You have a team. You don't need any more. You guys have seen the story. It's out there. It might be on Netflix, but it's out there, and you might have seen it. The Williams girls. Serena and Venus Williams. But they were a team, and they were all they had, and their dad believed in them. And a lot of times, it is gender-based, but every time we've seen that happen, and we've seen it extend to the females, we see champions. If you haven't seen the Serena and Venus story, it is a lot like Ken and Jules Lee's kids. A lot like it. A lot like Angela and Victoria. And I don't want to put a bunch of heat on Adrian, by the way. A young man, a child. I don't want to think he has to go and follows in these footsteps, but I imagine that he looks up to his brother, who happens to be the world champion, who looks up to his father, who used to be head of the Canadian Jiu-Jitsu Association. My buddy Ryan wants to tell me they're making pies. I'm not joking when I tell you this. Oh, no, she makes pie. She makes pie for the whole family. It's like, okay, I'm into the pies. Quite frankly, I would like to try a piece of the pie. I'm a pie fan. I think it might have even been more specifically cheesecake. I just don't know why that part of the story came out. I'm going to hold a viewing party for one championship. I want you guys to come. I'm going to tell you a story. There's your first one. It's on the Lee clan.